Hello and welcome to Aviation This Week on Channels Television. I am Bukola Koka, standing in for your regular anchor, Bukola Joe Ketumbi. And we'll begin this week with a review of the performance of the air transport sector during the Easter celebration. You know, checking the ease of services at some local airports is important, especially where other sectors are bedeviled by a myriad of challenges. We also took time to speak with Nigerians on the agenda for the incoming administration for the aviation sector, among other pressing issues. Starting off with our background report, the volume of passenger traffic in Nigeria's aviation industry saw a major rebound in 2022, with over 16 million passengers recorded on both the domestic and international markets. This is not unexpected, as travel by road has been significantly impacted by a high level of insecurity, and in recent times, the cash crunch occasioned by the Naira redesign policy of the federal government. This informed the need for our visit to the local wings of the Murtala Mohammed Airport in Lagos and the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, to check on the ease and efficiency of services rendered.
The Easter break is over, so Nigerians get back to their ever-busy daily lives. There are various means which people use to and from one point to another, but some of these services have some hindrances. We look at the airport infrastructure and its facilities to accommodate passenger traffic as passengers share ideas to enhance operations of airport services.
It was very convenient, appreciably, and the cost also was also moderate, and I mean, there are a lot of changes in the positive, and it's commendable. The facilities, the environment, the organization, the value for human being, the passengers, and one is encouraged to board the flights, given these improvements, and I think it's commendable.
I think I'll rate federal government, say like a 5/10. I think really I don't think there's any major thing if we're comparing like this present administration, if you compare it to what the previous administration has done. I don't think there's any major thing or any major difference. Yeah, in terms of airport infrastructure, I think the airports can actually be better. The next government can actually look towards making sure that air flights, it is very possible if flight tickets can actually become cheaper, so that more people can actually access other parts of the country by air. So they can, I know that there are a lot of maybe things that are actually in play, but then they should just see how to make it more accessible to more Nigerians, so that it's cheaper, basically, how they can work with the airlines and maybe bring more people into play, and whatever needs to be deregulated can be deregulated, and in the long run there is more people that can come into the space and more people can actually access air tickets and make it cheaper.
For some other passengers, the present administration has done fairly well, but there are calls for improvement.
If there are plans to launch a national carrier, I think by now we should begin to see signs of that on ground. For example, mock testing and all that, to know whether this is quite feasible. We've done that in the past. Now, I was privileged to know about Nigerian Airways, even though I never flew it, but it never really lasted. And we've been able to partner as a country with other airlines, like I think Virgin Nigeria was one of them. It was good for some time. Then after some time, the whole thing fizzled away. And I think there are issues with policies on that. The policies need to be regulated, and consistency in policies, so that when these national carriers, international carriers come in, they are sure that they are going into business and they are making profits, and not unstable policies that will destabilize them. I think that for Nigeria, if we have to have a national carrier, then it has to be purely business.
There's a lot of criticism around Buhari's administration, but I would like to say when it comes to this, he's actually getting better. I remember 2-3 years ago, when you want to fly, it's a big deal for you. Like you always, you would have to go through processes, have to go through people and stuff and everything, and you notice that in airports you see some kind of I don't know the word to use, but they're not being transparent to whatever they're doing, you get. But in recent times, you can see that it's better, it's getting better. I don't know the people he put in place for this particular purpose, but then I feel they are doing a good job.
In Abuja, the story is not any different.
Indeed, it was a very smooth flight, beautiful flight, and we didn't have any problems. It landed well. Our loads are coming out in time. So the flight also took off in time. So it was good. The area of concern is mainly the area that affects older persons in Nigeria and also people living with disabilities. There are no real arrangements for them. You know, we expect that the airlines will assist those kind of people to get on and to get off. We also expect that there will be, for checking in, they will receive accelerated check-in. And when they are carrying their luggage, an air staff should be able to help, you know, because people who are old are very fragile, and we don't know the condition in which they are traveling. So those are areas that need to be done.
It was impressive because I thought I was actually going to miss my flight because, like the usual way, there's usually a delay. But I was surprised there was no delay. In fact, I was running to the airport because they were telling me, "Madam, you're missing your flight." So yeah, it was impressive. That was my first time experiencing that, though. It was prompt. Honestly, recently, I think there's a lot of improvement. That's what I would say. There's a lot of improvement recently. Like, it's impressive.
They speak more on the assessment of aviation services in the FCT.
Honestly, I think things are worsening at this particular airport. It's very hot. I had to wait for my pickup for about 30 minutes, and you could see that I'm kind of sweating. Even at the Benin airport, it was the same thing. They need to do something about the air conditioning. The carousel is equally the same problem. They're noisy. You don't know exactly where you want to pick your luggage. And those are the things they need to work on.
My flight was very good when it commenced because I was supposed to fly 8 a.m. this morning. It was cancelled, so we flew at 1:20, but the flight was very, very good. No complaint at all. The cost of ticket is a bit high, but I can't complain because my sister flew to Lagos on Sunday and the price of her ticket was relatively cheaper than mine. I think I got my ticket a bit late, so I cannot fault anybody for that. When you cancel people's ticket, there should be compensation. It should not be a normal, you know, because even while it was rescheduled, we're not sure it was going to fly on the rescheduled time, and this is the norm. So it's very inconsiderate of the service providers to not put that into consideration when they're canceling flights.
For a nation like Nigeria, all forms of transportation, if well implemented, will aid economic growth and human capital development, and citizens look forward to the administrative policies of the incoming government.
Next, we look at the airport staff strike and its effect on aviation travel as we speak with agitators to understand reasons for the call to action.
Today, we rounded off the two-day warning strike with a road show here in Lagos. In other airports throughout Nigeria, they had different approaches to this final day. But we did a road show in Lagos so as not to compound the unfortunate suffering of both the traveling public and people who are using our roads. We did not interfere with flight operations, and we also did not stop people from moving around our airport roads. We are aware a meeting is ongoing at this moment, convened by the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission, and since we are not party to it, we cannot say for sure what is going on. But it's our hope that that meeting will produce a positive result and that at least one leg of the protest, which is the outstanding conditions of service for the 4 agencies, will be ratified and released for implementation.
Our demands are 3. One has been there for the past 2 or 3 years. That is the issue of minimum wage. They are trying to deny aviation workers. 2, condition of service. Most of the condition of service of all the aviation workers, they are all obsolete. Then the 3rd one is demolition of Fan and Nama headquarters in Lagos. You want to demolish the headquarters. You want to move the headquarters from Lagos to Abuja, and they not provide alternative. That means you have another ulterior motive.
In line with the government's determination to ascertain the actual figures of buildings and the infrastructural strength of the state, the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has deployed a Cessna 406 aircraft for aerial mapping of the state. Speaking at the launch of the exercise at the Murtala Mohammed Airport in Lagos, the Deputy Governor of the state, Dr. Obafemi Hamzat, said the exercise would help in knowing the actual number of buildings in the state and help to update its database.
Lagos State, also known as the Center of Excellence and the Economic Nerve Center of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is both the most populous and smallest in area and landmass, sitting on about 3,577 square kilometers. For the authorities, attaining specific environmental information is imperative to human development and national interest, especially now that the general election is days away and the national census also expected later in the year. To further aid the interests of the Lagos State government to ascertain the specific land area, this Cessna 406 aircraft, currently stationed at the Dominion hangar of the Murtala Mohammed Local Airport Ikeja, will undertake the aerial surveillance of the state. The Lagos State officials inspect the aircraft ahead of the mapping and update of the Lagos State Spatial Data Infrastructure for the Enterprise Geographic Information System project.
Very simple operation, effective.
With the inspection done, the aircraft engineer gives a brief description of its features.
But this one in particular is meant for urban photography. Basically what it does is it captures images, the still photos, and then it takes obliques, which is all directions, which helps to map the cities and the buildings and show them in 3D models. We also do LiDAR for digital elevation models and for the cloud on the LiDAR.
The government believes that the aircraft will easily aid its objective of aerial surveillance accuracy for the state.
Land for us in Lagos is very critical. As we all know, we occupy only 0.4% of Nigerian landmass, and we house about 11% of the population. So that goes without saying that land for us in Lagos is an extremely essential material.
The pilot explains the operational methods of the aircraft during service.
The flight level that we'll be operating will be 4,500 feet above sea level. So it'll be quite high. It's higher than most of the approaches coming into the airport here is at 2,500, so we'll be above that. So it won't be very low. You probably won't even see us, you'll just hear us in the sky.
The mapping exercise comes with numerous benefits for the state, as it makes data available for planning and provision of more infrastructure for residents who have been advised to remain calm when they see an aircraft at low altitude, as the Cessna aircraft is being deployed to update the database of physical structures and pathways with the aim of developing better services for Lagosians and Nigerians.
Time for a break now. When we return, we'll tell you about the Edo State government's proposed Auchi airport. Stay with us. The Edo State government has secured tentative approval from the federal government for its proposed Auchi airport. The state governor, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, who briefed journalists on plans for an airport in the state, said his administration is working with aviation experts to finalize the survey of its airport project.
We have acquired the land. The federal minister has given us a tentative approval. We need to just finalize the survey and get the experts, to finish the report. At the last time I checked, they were doing the charting to see, the safety measures that are required for a final approval for an airport. With an airport, safety is the main consideration. So they want to make sure that the approaches that we have, the approaches into the airport for landing into the runways, for instance, are clear and safe and will not endanger, the aircrafts. So those are the final reports that are being and studies that are being conducted. And as soon as we get the final approval, we will break ground and commence construction of that airport. Like we said, it makes sense. It's not a political project, because between Benin City and Abuja on this axis, which is more than 600 kilometers, there's no airport. So it just, from a transport standpoint, it makes a lot of commercial sense to have an airport in Edo North, in this axis. And more importantly, you can see there are a lot of emerging businesses, particularly in the area of mining, in academia. You have Federal Polytechnic, you have university, you have 2 cement companies producing over 6 million tons of cement. You have several mining companies. So there is enough activities to sustain an airport in this axis.
And on our interview segment today, we featured the Minister of Aviation, Mr. Hadi Sirika, who speaks extensively on the federal government's airport infrastructure upgrade and the attendant challenges encountered in the bid to render air services in an efficient manner.
And when we took over, we had our priorities. And our priorities was reduced into a single statement to keep it simple. So we were concerned about how safe, secure you depart point A and land point B, and everything in between in the most efficient manner. So this is the intent of the government of Buhari, APC government in power since 2015. Specifically in civil aviation, as I said, all those things that will happen between takeoff and landing and in between that speaks to safety, security and efficiency of the sector had been our concern since then. Yes, there were terminal buildings that have been dilapidated, and especially that of Lagos. But we didn't fold our arms. We accelerated what we met in terms of the terminal buildings, which were at about below 10% at the time, with lots of problems, including problems for foundation and so on. As a matter of fact, you can take that procurement to be at 0 level when we came in. But happily, they have all been completed. The only one remaining is Enugu, which will soon be completed. I'm sure it will be one of the first tick points for the incoming administration. We've done Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, Kano, and they're put to use. And we are not operating the Lagos airport at full capacity, and it's household knowledge now. We have some obstructions that will be removed very soon, within the next 1 or 2 weeks, and then expand the apron so that Lagos can have that full airport in full use to 100%. Because of the premier nature and importance of Lagos Airport to the economy of Nigeria and civil aviation. And civil aviation, since the gazetting of the new act, has become one, a critical infrastructure in the airport, as airports, and two, aviation itself has been defined as essential service. And the MD had told you that there's no single airport in Nigeria today that has not seen a major transformation. Not necessarily through the buildings, but even the buildings, yes, very many of them. Port Harcourt, Calabar, Lagos, everywhere. Abuja, Kano, and all of them. But these kind of items that passengers don't see, even pressmen don't see, ordinary people don't see, has been the focus of the Buhari administration since 2015. And they're all intended to keep all of us very safe, very secure, and move very efficiently. Nobody bothers or bother when you don't have an instrument landing system. He doesn't know it. Or you don't have a low-level wind shear alert system to tell you there is going to be the sudden change in speed and direction violently of the air that you are riding upon. We have the equipment to tell you where and when, at what time will there be wind shear, when will it leave. So the government of President Buhari is establishing a fire truck rehabilitation, overhaul, and maintenance center, and also begin to assemble those fire trucks in Nigeria itself for our own use and for the market of West and Central Africa. The contract has been awarded and is ongoing. Very soon, within perhaps 6 months, it will be operational. So we're doing quite a lot. We're talking about safety, security, and efficiency of the sector. When we leave, we pray that those people coming to succeed us will do much, much, much better than we've done.
Dubai, a choice destination for fund seekers and many businesses and home owners, has made one more advance to live up to its name and expectations as an innovation hub. This time, a 39-year-old Polish pilot has succeeded in landing his small aircraft with no guide on a pathway and headwinds, as his runway is the helipad of the Burj Al Arab in Dubai. The helipad, which is near the top of the 56-story building, stands 212 meters in the air and has in the past been a site for movies as well as exhibition performances involving tennis, golf and Formula One.
Oh my gosh!
For the 39-year-old Red Bull pilot who has made 650 test landings in Poland, the United States and Dubai, as preparations for stunts, he expresses his pleasure at being able to achieve this feat.
To be honest, I couldn't feel happier. 2 years in the making, third attempt, and we've managed to put a plane on a helipad 200 meters above the ground on the most iconic, the most beautiful building in the world, which is absolutely fantastic, So, I couldn't be happier. We started to make a history here.
Mike Partey, a prominent aviation engineer who made some modifications to the jet used in the project, explains some of the processes involved.
We needed them to land before a white circle line, but not before the edge of the building. And we said, hey, if we can have our perfect landing, like the perfect one, I want to see you put black marks between the two white marks, the outer ring off the building and the inner white line. He hit exactly in the dead center. And so when you say bullseye, I know people think it's the carbon cup sitting on the H right here. No, it is those two black marks in a spot this big. That is on target, on spot. That is the bullseye sitting right there, those black tire marks.
This time, a 39-year-old Polish pilot has succeeded in landing his small aircraft with no guide on a runway and amidst headwinds, as his runway is the helipad of the Burj Al Arab in Dubai.
And that's the program for today. Thank you so much for watching. I am Bukola Koka. Bye for now.